Hello everyone. In this series of videos, first of all, we will study fundamentals of array. You might be thinking, what is there to study in array? Array is very simple. What can be the fundamental of array? But you might realize as you proceed along this series of videos that there are some interesting things to be thought and said about arrays. Particularly in this new world where higher level languages like Python and Java are more prominent than languages like C, which are closer to the computer architecture. And so if you are coding in Python and Java, you may tend to forget, you may tend to maybe not even think about or never be taught what actually arrays are and how they came about, how they evolved. So that is why this fundamental type of series is important. So before we get ahead with the exact content, some ground rules. The context is that I was teaching computer science from interview preparation point of view to one of my close relatives, and that relative doesn't have a computer science degree, but he has been programming for some time, and he wants to get a job in programming. And so I started teaching him computer science, and that is where I developed this sort of I taught him arrays and linked list and binary search trees and hash map and so on. And so I thought I can make a series of videos on those topics which I taught him. And so here we are. And the rule is that every few days I will try to put up one video, call it my new year resolution, and every video will be something like 10 minutes. So I will speak for 10 minutes wherever I am, then I will drop off and come again after a few days for another 10 minutes of lecture. So this was the context. Now secondly, so in this first few videos I want to tell you about arrays. And it so turns out that to be able to learn about arrays, first we need to learn a little bit about what is a computer processor and what is a computer memory, and how do the processor and memory interact with each other. Now you may not have taken a computer architecture course, or maybe you have forgotten if you took it, and maybe you never correlated it with higher level programming language. But let's do a bit of it to understand the arrays slightly better. So the first topic that we are going to study is processors and memory. This may sound abstract and maybe a little useless to you, but if you hold on with me, you might have a rethink if you are thinking this. Okay. So first of all, the way you should visualize a processor, that a processor's life consists of, this is a phrase I heard somewhere, I don't know where, but years ago I heard it: fetch and execute. Fetch and execute. Okay. What do you fetch? You fetch an instruction. You fetch an instruction from memory and execute it. And then you fetch the next instruction and execute it, and then you fetch the next instruction and execute it. And this is what a processor done all its life. And it so turns out that by such a simple primitive, such a huge computer science industry can evolve, which can solve so many practical problems. Everything is just fetch and execute. So fetch an instruction and execute an instruction. And what does an instruction look like? Those of you who are a bit conversant with computer processor may be knowing about the concept of registers. But since my main motivation to tell you about processors is to be able to tell you about arrays, so we will skip this register part. Okay, so please pardon me for this inaccuracy. Maybe we will consider about register in some later lecture. But so coming back, each instruction that a processor fetches and executes looks like this. It looks like this. Add the content of memory location M1. Now I am assuming that there is something called a memory which has some locations, and we will study that soon. So there is, so add the content of memory location M1 with the content of memory location M2 and put it in memory location M3. That is a sample instruction. Similarly, another instruction could be multiply the content of M1 with M2 and put it in M3. You can add, subtract, multiply, divide. You can say increment M1, which means add 1 to M1. I mean to the content of M1. Okay, so there are lots and lots of instructions like this, and the job of processor is to execute instructions one after the other. There are so many other instructions. There are jump instruction, and there are compare instruction, and if you know, there are system calls, and there are call instructions to make a function call. So there are lots and lots of instructions, but for the purpose of understanding array, this is the way you can visualize a processor is. Okay, so this is what a processor looks like. And now, since I have referred to the memory in these instructions, in the description of these instructions, so we should also try to understand what is a computer memory. How should we think about a computer memory? Okay, computer memory, also known as RAM, random access memory. So you would have heard of things like, oh, my laptop has 8 GB of memory, or my laptop has 16 GB of memory. So that is the memory that we are talking about. So you should think of a RAM or computer memory as a sequence of bytes, as a series of bytes, and each byte has an address. So the first byte has the address 0. It is a sequence of bytes, and you can call it a named sequence of bytes, or rather an indexed sequence of bytes. So in case, let's say that you have 8 GB of RAM, it means that you have 8 into 1024 into 1024 into 1024, which is 8 into 1024 cube. So you have these many bytes in your RAM. So the last index would be 8 into 1024 cube minus 1, because we start from 0. In computer science, we always do indexing from 0. It's an interesting question. Why do we do indexing from 0? Why not from 1, which seems to be more natural? And that is something we will consider sometime later. It is also a topic related to arrays. Why we do indexing from 0 is related to how arrays work in a processor. All right. So this is what you should think of memory like, and so you should think of you should think that to the memory you can say, hey, store 101 to memory location 45, or you can say give me what is stored in memory location 1248. Okay, so this is 5, and so it's at somewhere there will be 1248. So fetch me whatever it is in that particular cell of memory. Okay, so we have seen how to think of processor. A processor is an automata whose aim in life is to fetch and execute, fetch the next instruction, execute. Each instruction looks something like this, and we have also seen what a memory looks like. It is a linear sequence of bytes, and it is an indexed sequence of bytes. While we are at it, before we close this video, because this is getting to be approximately 10 minutes, you should know that each byte is having actually 8 bits. Okay, each byte has 8 bits, but you cannot access an individual bit. You can only get a byte in one go. Actually, you get a word in one go, and a word consists of maybe 4 bytes. But for the purpose of this discussion, you should think that you can never ask computer to get you the value of an individual bit. You can only ask it to get the value of an individual byte. And here also I am a bit inaccurate, because in one go you can always get a word, and a word is usually a 4 byte or something. All right. So you might be thinking that we have covered so much, but we have not come to the array. 10 minutes are up. We will consider the properties of the array in the next video. Thank you very much.